Hello, my name's Daniel G. Wilson. This is DGAW Interviews. Today I will be interviewing Dev Maharaj of the Step Defectors.
How's it going?
Short and sweet. Alright, so tell me, Dev, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. Alright.
Ask me anything.
So, now, Dev, I've been always curious to know, why bass?
Okay, so, the thing that got me into rock music in the first place was Nirvana. The first time I heard Nirvana was the first time I heard anything in that realm of crazy, epic, awesome stuff, right? So, first song I heard was In Bloom, and there's that part in Bloom, you know, where the bass just kicks into the foreground a little bit and everything. And I was just like, that's what I want to do, you know? So I begged my parents relentlessly for months to get me a bass. And then eventually I got a Washburn XB100 starter pack. And that's how I started off with everything. And then I picked up guitar a year later. But yeah, it really was Nirvana that brought me into bass first. So you saw that I played bass and Step Defectors and everything. That's just me carrying on like what I always consider myself more of a bass player than a guitarist, even though I play guitar just as much, if not more. Like I always consider myself a bassist, and I feel like I think kind of like a bassist. So that's that's basically Nirvana's the reason why I started on bass. Chris Novoselic got me into it.
Bass playing.
Yeah.
Who would you say your biggest bass playing influences are besides Chris Novoselic?
Ooh, okay, so definitely 100% it would be Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolver, and all that stuff. My dad bought, around the time when I was born, he bought the first Use Your Illusion album, and then he lent it to me shortly after I started playing bass. And dude, like, oh my gosh, that's the tone. Like Duff McKagan's like, it's a pick style tone. That's what got me into playing with a pick, because I started off with fingers like everyone else, but well, not like everyone else, but whatever. Oh yeah,
yeah,
with his thumb.
Yeah.
I can't do that. But yeah, so Duff McKagan's what got me into playing with a pick. Because I love that like bright tone, and then you had like the chorus effect and everything on there, so that got me into like using chorus. I have a chorus pedal that I use for a lot of stuff, not too much stuff on the Step Defector stuff, but I have a project that I'm working on, and you could hear the chorus pedal on that when it comes out. So yeah, it would be Duff McKagan, Tim from Rage Against the Machine. Who else? One of my early influences was Flea. From Red Hot Chili Peppers, even though I don't really play like him. I really like groove-based music, like music that makes you want to move, you know? So, like, I feel like that's sort of where I got that from. So, yeah, those are basically my major influences, I would say. Yeah, I think that's it.
Oh, okay. Now, here's something I have been curious about. Life to Below 1980.
Oh, God.
Why are there no symbols?
That was... So one day we were supposed to have a rehearsal, and John, our drummer, was a little late because he missed his bus. So me and the other John were like, let's just jam out. You go on drums and I'll play bass and just distort the hell out of it, you know? And obviously it's a play on Death from Above. So yeah, it was just like it was a short little thing. We just made a little video and played it off as like a little joke side project, even though it's nothing serious at all. It was just a fun time.
Looked like a fun time.
Yeah, it sounded so bad.
Oh, I've heard worse. All right. Now, I notice you have a strong liking, if for lack of a better term, for Alexis on Fire. Would you say that they have been very influential in your music?
Not. Where did you find out that I liked Alexa on Fire?
Nardwar.
Like Facebook and stuff. Okay, but yeah. Anyways, I don't think so. Like, I am a big Alexa on Fire fan, and I got to see them before they broke up and everything. It was pretty awesome, and it was definitely like one of the biggest. All right, so during that concert that I went to see, I had like a completely like I guess like musical awakening in a way because there was like the lights and the music and the people and everyone was just going completely crazy. It was like one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life at a Alexa on Fire show, and so I guess you could say that that experience definitely gave me an idea of what I wanted to do, but I don't think that they really influenced me musically too much because they do a lot of complex stuff and like a lot of intricate stuff and nice and like a lot heavier than what I would do. Um, so I wouldn't say that they're a musical influence, but they definitely like influenced me as a musician in a way, I guess.
All right. How did you meet your bandmates?
Okay, so I'll talk about John Eccleston first. So him and I went to the same high school together. I met him in high school. He was telling a Kurt Cobain joke, something about what was it? I swear I remember it. I think it was like, what color is the wall Kurt Cobain standing behind? And it was red or something like that because he shot his head off, something like that. But yeah, so that's how I met John. And then we started talking. I was like, I play guitar and bass. He plays guitar and bass. So, he's a huge Nirvana fan, one of the biggest Nirvana fans that I know. Like, he knows every Nirvana song on guitar. It's ridiculous. So that's how we started. We were like, let's put a band together. And then we started, we went through a couple different stages in high school. We had a band where we had a bunch of bands that never even got off the ground, basically. I think I started like 2 different bands with them. One without a drummer, and then we took a break, and then like we started another one. We had a possible drummer, but that never came to fruition at all, even though we had like 1 rehearsal. We had a part of a song from the first band that he came up with, and I was helping him write in his basement. So that's how I met John, and we didn't talk for a really long time after high school, and even like during the end of high school, we didn't really talk too much, just because we didn't really see each other that much. Yeah, we sort of went different ways musically. But when I started the Step Defectors, we needed a guitar player, and I couldn't find fucking anyone, like who played even remotely to our style. So I was like, let's give John a call. I wonder if he reminds me. So I like sent him a text and asked if he was interested, and he was. I actually asked him to start another band before that, like about a month before the Step Defectors was even a thing. And he said, yeah, but that fell through because we couldn't find a singer. And then I was just like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And then like a week later, I called him back like, I have another band. Yeah, that's how that's how I got John Eccleston into the mix. The other John, I was in a band who's still going right now. It's a post-rock band. Right now they're called Cloud Everest. Before, when I was with them, they were called Panel. We changed their names a couple times. But anyways, yeah, I met John because I think it was Sean, the guitarist from Cloud Everest. I think he brought him into the band. I'm not sure how that happened, but someone found John as a drummer and brought him in. First thing he said to me was like, punk rock, because he saw like my bass and like how I was dressed and everything. I was like, yeah, punk rock. So we like hit it off from the start because we both really like punk rock, and Rage Against the Machine was a big one for us too. We're both huge Rage Against the Machine fans. So yeah, we just hit it off. Like, our styles musically really fit. I feel like he's the best drummer I've ever played with for chemistry so far. He's a really talented guy. If I'm about to do something, I know he knows that I'm about to do it, and if he's about to do something, he knows I know he's about to do it. So we have like a really good chemistry, and our rhythm section is just like really tight. So that was like a no-brainer. Like, dude, you got to be in my band. So I called him up, and then started the Step Defectors. Yeah, so that's how it happened. And also the reason why I'm singing, while I was singing, while Step Defectors was a thing, was because we couldn't find another singer who did that sort of style, like the sort of like punk rock, loud, blow your throat out kind of vocals. We went through, we had one singer for a while named Tim, really talented guy, but it was just a different style than what I was looking for. And we auditioned a couple guys that didn't work out. But they're definitely like good guys, but they just didn't work out for what I want. I'm a control freak, so like, I had a specific view of what I wanted, and I'll do it myself, So yeah, which is really hard actually because I wrote all the bass parts really complex to make them interesting, and then afterwards it was just like now I gotta play this and sing on top of it. Like that's really hard. So. It took a bit of practice, but I got it going. It was good.
Actually, I was going to ask you about how you came up with your unique style of singing. In a way, it's
unique.
It's unique. It's not really. It's a growl, but at the same time, it's almost spoken word in a way. It's hard to describe to fit into one style. It's unique.
Yeah. All right. I knew what I wanted my vocals to be like. If you listen to the Step Defectors album, it's not the best vocal performances. I'll be completely honest; they're actually pretty garbage. But what I wanted to do was have sort of like a vocal style that is not a growl, like not like a metal thing. Which I do. I like that stuff, but like that's not exactly what I wanted for this band. But I wanted definitely like strong rasp in the music. So I developed over time a rasp, sort of. I guess it's borderlining on a growl at parts. But I think of it more of like just a backing rasp in a way. And it took me a while to figure out how to get that from the right place in your throat without like completely blowing out your throat. Like you could talk to the other guys, and if we might do another interview with those guys too soon. But like after certain rehearsals, when I was still learning, like my voice would be completely gone or like different. Like after we play, because like I would just go all out, and also we didn't have like a good PA when we were rehearsing. We had like a terrible mashup of bass amps and guitar amps plugged into mics through like fuzz pedals and stuff, so it wasn't loud enough, and I'd have to sing louder than I would usually have to just to get heard. So I blew out my throat so many times when we were starting, but I think I definitely learned how to control it now. So yeah, you don't have to worry about me completely bleeding out my mouth anymore.
Oh.
So.
Well, that's very interesting. I'm a little horrified, but
I never actually, but it felt that way.
Oh dear. Okay. Now, how many instruments can you play in total?
Well, I can't really sing, but if you count singing, 3. I guess guitar, bass, and vocals. I can't play drums. I can program drums, but I can't play drums. Yeah, I mean, guitar, bass, and vocals. That's it. That's all I focus on. I feel like I don't want to. It's enough for me. Like that's where the music I like is. I'm not going to be able to play the music that I like on like bongos or whatever. So I stick to what I like. Would I like to learn other instruments? Yeah, probably, but I don't really have the time. I mean, there's still so much to learn with the stuff that I do have. So I don't feel restricted. So I just stick to guitar, bass, and vocals.
All right. Now, another question for you. Big Muff.
Yes. All right. That was a statement in the form of a question. All right. So yeah, the Big Muff is an incredible pedal. The way I run mine with bass is that I'll have a overdrive going. It'll go bass, the bass signal from the bass into an overdrive, that into a Big Muff, then that into the amp. So the only reason I would use a Big Muff is for getting a really rough, gritty kind of clipping sound that isn't your traditional fuzz tone. So it's not like a Hendrix thing or whatever. It's a really, if you listen to this song called Geneva by Russian Circles, and there's a bass part in there that's really just, it's a one note part, but it's low and it's like fuzzy and it's just great. Like, I just love that tone. So that's what I use it to get. So you can search that up to see exactly what I'm talking about. But I use the overdrive to get a smoother sound, and then I put that into like a smooth distortion, put that through the Big Muff to get a really jagged distortion, and then those combined create pretty much how I like to run a Big Muff. And to do that, you actually don't use much sustain at all. It's volume, and then you back the sustain down to like, I don't even know, like 8 o'clock or something like that, like really low. So that's how I run my Big Muffs. If you listen to Fossil by the Step Defectors, the beginning part of the song where it's just that one guitar riff, that's me playing through overdrive and Big Muff into a distorted amp. So that's the only Big Muff on the Step Defectors, but I did use it live.
Wow.
So that's my Big Muff, guide, I guess.
Cool. Tell me, DIY.
Yes. Okay. I feel like not doing DIY these days is completely hopeless because, for example, what you're doing right now, you're starting up a interview thing, right? And it's awesome. And you don't need anyone else to do it for you. You don't need anyone else to like go and get you a studio or a camera or anything like that. You can do it all yourself. The Step Defectors album was completely DIY. No one was going to put us out, right? No one's even heard of us yet. So we recorded the album, mixed the album, put out the album, everything by ourselves. Just because no one else would do it, right? Everything that I do musically is DIY. I would be open to signing to an indie label, not a major label, because that's sort of an old way of doing things. And ever heard of 360 deals? It's when they take a cut of everything, like merch, touring, everything. There's no way to make money with that. DIY, especially with the technology we have now, like you can do anything from a laptop. So like, you don't need a studio anymore. You don't need you need a producer, but like you don't need to pay another guy if you don't want to, and you don't need to pay a sound engineer if you don't want to. You just gotta spend some time learning how to mix music. Now, the mixing on the Step Defectors album was pretty garbage, but I've learned a lot since then, that's for sure. And this next project, it's going to sound wicked. In fact, I'll send you a clip of a song that I'm working on. I have a bunch of songs recorded. Yeah, basically DIY is a great way to do things. If you want to do something, you can do it these days. It's as simple as that. I wanted to put out an album, so I put out an album. If you wanted to start up this interview thing, then you could start it up. Anyone can do anything these days. It's pretty wicked. So yeah, do it yourself is definitely a good way of going about achieving things.
Words to live by from Dev Maharaj.
Exactly.
All right. Another statement in the form of a question. Weezer.
Okay. Sorry, what?
Weezer.
Okay. Weezer was probably one of my first favorite bands. I sort of connected with the lyrical content. Even though some of the lyrics are complete garbage. I don't know. I definitely connected with this, what the songs were about. The whole, being a complete loser thing, like, definitely right up my alley. So, you know, yeah, I think it started from there, and then I really like the heavy guitars, because a lot of people automatically assume Weezer isn't that heavy of a band, but if you listen to their guitars, it's crazy heavy, especially, like, older stuff. It's just ridiculous. I love it. Their new album, did it come out yet? I don't know if it came out yet.
It came out yet. It's already
out. Yeah, it's pretty, I heard, Back to the Shack, that was good. That was pretty good. But I actually bought their last, I think that I have them right here too. Yeah, I bought their last 2 CDs, or they Hurley and Ratitude. I think those are the last 2, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
They're both fairly disappointing. I mean, there are good songs on both of them, but as a whole, not really what I like. But the first time I ever heard Weezer was I went to my local library, which is right by my school. And I was browsing through the CDs, and I saw the Make Believe album, which a lot of people don't like, and I'll agree that there are some bad songs on there. But that was the first time I heard Weezer, so I borrowed that, popped it in my computer when I got home, and I was just like, wow, that's so cool. Like, that's sort of what started it off. But yeah, I like Weezer. They're good, I mean, they definitely sold out for a while there, but they're pretty good.
All right. Now, let's see. The music scene in the Golden Horseshoe. What would you say, what are your thoughts on it, the current music scene in the Golden Horseshoe, the greater Toronto area, the Niagara region,
I think it's good, what I like about it is that it can get competitive, but the bands are really like, we're all in this together sort of thing. Like, I've yet to meet a band that didn't treat me or my band well. And they're just nice, good people, It's not like LA in the 80s when everyone was out to get each other. To be honest, I haven't experienced things too far out the indie punk rock thing, so I can't really speak for everyone. But the music's good. There are a ton of interesting bands out there. And the cool thing is that not everyone's doing the same thing. Like, you can call the Step Defectors kind of a normal band. We have like a fairly normal sound. But there are some bands out there doing really unique stuff, and I like that. Even though my music isn't horribly unique, there are bands out there doing things that I haven't heard yet, which is really cool, It's like painting a musical landscape in front of your face. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, I think it's alive and well. People are definitely supporting it. Maybe not as much as I would like, but there are people at shows. Not a ton, but there are people. I mean, I'm speaking for the Oshawa scene mostly because that's where I am. But things are pretty good. There's a lot of places for bands to play, and the venues are nice. Like, they're good people running the venues, and they're interested. The Step Defectors got offers to play at a few places, which is really cool. So yeah, it's not like you have to be incredible to play the venues these days, which is good, because that means you can get out there and show your stuff and get better as you go. So yeah, I think the venues have a good part in playing with keeping things afloat. The bands are doing a good job, and they're not recycling old stuff, which is good. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing to complain about.
Interesting. Does your band need a spoon player?
Are you interested?
Yes, actually.
Yeah, I don't unless we cover Spoon Man by Soundgarden, which is one of my favorite Soundgarden songs. No, I don't think we need a spoon player yet. Thanks for the offer.
Just thought I'd ask.
Cool.
Do you name your guitars?
I really wish I did. I try naming them like after I have them for a little while and stuff, because when I first get them, I'm like super like crazy, and I don't think about that. All I want to do is play it. I don't really think about naming them. I tried naming a few of them after I got them, but the names didn't really stick. There's one name. So I had this black Strat, black with a white pickguard Squire Strat. It was my first ever 6-string, and I repainted it yellow and black. And in fact, I might as well just get it for you. Like, I'll be right back.
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
Alright, so this is the Strat that I'm talking about. I repainted this myself. It's pretty cool.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, it has a single coil here, and I replaced it with a humbucker. Me and a friend took an X-Acto knife and just like cut up the pickguard over like the course of an hour. It's hard, man. And I replaced like the knobs and everything, and yeah, it's a good guitar now. But yeah, that guitar, because it's yellow, one of my friends called it Paula Deen because she uses butter a lot. So it sort of stuck. Unfortunately, this guitar is now known as Paula Deen. So that guitar has a name. I don't think any... I mean, I have a blue Strat, which I guess I could show you that one too. I'm just going to unplug these headphones. You're getting a little gear tour.
Nothing's wrong with the gear tour.
This one here, my main guitar, you'll hear it on the new project, and this is the guitar that I played on all the tracks that I played on the Step Defectors album, and all the solos except Necklace were played with this guitar. It's an HH Fender Blacktop Strat. That one's called the blue one because it's Sonic Blue. And then there's one more guitar that has a name, my bass.
We're going to try and get a close up on your bass.
Okay.
Nice. Explain the sticker.
I'll explain the sticker. Blind Bones the Pirate is a little character that me and a few friends had kicking around. So I decided to draw a picture of him on Photoshop and make a sticker out of it. It says Blind Bones Rumble Loud on the bottom. And yeah, so because of that, this one's known as the Blind Bones bass. It's just I think it's a classic series 70s reissue Fender precision bass. Black inlays, black binding, precision bass. I stuck Seymour Duncan quarter pounders in there. So yeah, this is my go-to bass. I have two others, but this is basically the one that I play all the time. So yeah, that's that.
Awesome.
So that's my naming thing. I don't name my guitars really. Other people name them for me. Next question.
All right. My next question is, why not single coils?
Okay. I like single coils, contrary to popular belief, for certain things like blues and certain kinds of punk. Like if you listen to the Hives, they're like single coils all the time. It's great. But for the kind of music I like and the guitar tones that I like, I prefer humbuckers. I just like that thick, driven sound. For bass, I prefer single coils. I'm not a big fan of bass humbuckers at all, because I like that twangy kind of metallic kind of sound. But for guitar, no, man, it's just got to be humbuckers. I mean, all my guitars have humbuckers in the bridge position. Two of them have single coils in the neck and middle. I had a guitar, the yellow one, Paula Deen. she had a single coil, but ripped it out because it was terrible, and stuck a humbucker in there. So yeah, I mean, I'm more of a humbucker player. With my guitar influences, like, they all use humbuckers, and that's just the sound that I like, so that's what I stick with. And also, guitars these days, you can coil tap or coil split your humbuckers to turn them into single coils, so why not get humbuckers? I'd rather have a humbucker and be able to turn it into a single coil than have a single coil and get stuck with a single coil, right?
Okay. Well, I agree with you on that. All my guitars have humbuckers in the bridge position as well.
So all your guitars are right.
No, they all are. One of them actually, gutted. I took out. I had the two single coils taken out of one of them. I believe you saw a picture of that once, actually.
Yeah, I remember that.
It sounds much better without the single coils on.
Yeah, I'm not a single coil fan.
All right. Now, post rock.
Yeah. Just post rock, okay.
Statement, more of a question.
Yeah. It's interesting. I didn't know what post rock was until I joined a post rock band. So basically, one day in October last year, I met Sean at Frosh for a university thing, and I was like, we traded information because we both knew that we were interested in starting a band. And he called me up and said, "Are you interested in jamming Thursdays?" And I was like, "Absolutely." He said that I'm starting up a post-rock band, and like me and this other guy, who's Chris from Cloud Everest, was working on some riffs, like post-rock riffs, and I was like, "Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, whatever post-rock is." So like I just joined, not entirely sure what post-rock was. Figured out what post-rock was. It's intense. It's like the things that they do, I haven't seen other people do. Like, first time I saw someone put a delay pedal into another delay pedal into the front of an amp was these guys from Cloud Everest. I was just like, wow. Like, and it sounds great. And the use of their volume pedals and stuff, it's pretty intense. I tried my hand at writing a few post-rock songs. I wrote a few demos. It's an interesting music genre, and you can take it a lot of different ways. There are really light post-rock bands, and there are really heavy ones. And, you know, it's just great atmospheric music, and it takes a lot of talent. It's great. I really like post-rock. I don't know if I'm best suited for writing it. Maybe a heavier post-rock band like Russian Circles I would be more inclined to. But the lighter stuff, not really up my alley. So, yeah, I mean, to each their own though, right?
All right. Now, here's a question from your fans. Your fans want to know.
My fans?
Blondes or brunettes?
Brunettes. Always. I'm not a blondes guy, sorry. I mean, there are really good-looking blondes, obviously, but I'm more a brunettes guy, definitely.
All right. Your top 5 favorite guitarists?
Top 5, oh my gosh. Okay, in no particular order. And this isn't like a talent thing. This is like...
Your personal favorite.
Yeah, alright, this is my... Okay. I can just look over here because I have like a bunch of guitarists on the wall. Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains. Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave. Slash is a big one. I have a picture of Slash back there. He was a huge influence. Hendrix is right there. That's a Hendrix poster. That's 4. Okay, I need one more, don't I?
Yep.
Purely from songwriting, I'm going to say Kurt Cobain, but I'm sure I'm missing out a ton of guitarists that I absolutely love. Like, there's definitely like some that aren't coming to mind right now. This is just off the top of my head. So that was my 5.
Cool. Huh. You have a good taste in music, if I dare say so.
Thank you. I think so too.
Now, describe your days in Cloud Everest, and why did you leave the band?
Okay, so with Cloud Everest, the way things went was because, all right, so there's 2 different ways I like being in a band. One, I control absolutely everything, and two, I am a complete support role, and like that's what I do, and that's what I was in Cloud Everest, and that was great, because I was really able to like mess around on bass and figure out what the hell would make the song better as opposed to just showing off. So with Cloud Everest, when it came to songwriting, Chris and Sean would most likely take the role of writing a riff or something like that, and then I would do something underneath it and really try to service the riff the best I can, to make it as good as this. When I'm a bass player, I try to service the song. I don't try to be in the foreground too much, because if the bassist is trying to be in the foreground and the guitarists are trying to be in the foreground and then the cello player is trying to be in the foreground, everything is just like a complete mess. So as the bass player in that, I tried to be the glue as much as possible. So that's sort of my role in the band, and it was good. I enjoyed it. The reason why I left was because I wanted to make the Step Defectors more my focus. So I didn't want to have to worry about other bands and stuff like that and have to divide my time, which actually worked out because I was able to get the album out pretty quickly after I quit Cloud Everest. But I would still be with those guys right now if Step Defectors weren't a thing, because they're really talented. The songs are good and it's fun to play live. You definitely like feel the music when you're in a post-rock band. Like, it's really emotional stuff. At least in my opinion, I took the music pretty emotionally, and it gives you like goosebumps. Just makes your hair stand up. Certain parts of the songs and the build-ups are intense. It was a really good time. Like, I learned a lot from that experience, like incorporating weird time signatures and stuff into my music. So I guess I kind of deviated from the question there. But
okay, that's fine.
But yeah, my role in the band was basically a support role, which was good. I enjoyed it.
Now, this next question is hard to describe. Tell me your thoughts on the state of heavy rock music in the post-grunge, post-90s punk revival world we live in today.
Okay, well, first you could start off by saying there's a lot of music that people call punk rock that isn't punk rock. Green Day, But no, they're good. I am a Green Day fan, so it's okay. But things change. People do different things. People get influenced by different things. I wouldn't say we're in a slump, because there are definitely good hard bands out there. Maybe not too much in the foreground, but they're definitely out there. And then all the old bands that people love that say that, that was when rock was real and stuff like that, they're still around, or at least most of them are. If like their singer didn't shoot themselves in the head with a shotgun, So, there's like a ton of good bands out there still. I mean, if we're looking at new bands that are coming out now, I feel like a lot of them are doing copy stuff, but they were back in the 90s too. Like, do you know how many Nirvana copy bands were out when Nirvana was around?
Yeah.
And I mean, like in the indie scene, like not in the foreground really that much. And then people say things like, "Oh, there's so much bad music today" and stuff like that, which there is. Like, a lot of the stuff in the mainstream pop world is a bit. I'm just not going to say anything about that. But when it comes to like new bands and stuff that's coming out now, there are bands that are trying to copy people, and then there are bands that are doing their own thing. And there's a ton of good bands out there that are doing their own thing, and it's like Watershed Hour is a good one. If you ever heard them, it's a two-piece, bass and vocals and drums. It's great, like really good. First time I saw them was actually the show that we were opening for them, and they're really good, like really good, and unique in my opinion. So there are definitely unique bands out there, and there will continue to be unique bands out there. Um, there are definitely like bad bands as well, but people think that back in the day there weren't any bad bands. There were bad bands. They're just not around anymore, and no one knows about them because no one was talking about them. One thing that's kind of getting on me these days is that the whole folk thing, like Mumford and Sons and all that, like there's a lot of people copying that stuff, and there's a million folk artists that sound the exact same and use the same strumming patterns, and I think that's going to die out eventually, or at least those bands aren't going to be remembered when 30 years from now when we talk about when folk was such a big thing. I don't think those bands that copy a lot are going to be remembered. Mm-hmm. But then again, there are really successful copy bands. Well, arguably copy bands. You've heard Seether and Puddle of Mud, right?
I know Puddle of Mud.
Okay, so they're kind of like a Nirvana-ish sounding band. Yeah. The singer sounds a lot like Nirvana, and same thing with Seether. Like the singer does sound a lot like Nirvana, or Kurt Cobain. Sorry, not Nirvana. But at the same time, the songs are different, and they're good. Like, they're actually really good songs, in my opinion. So things like that, where you take influence from a specific artist and then roll with it, I think that is okay as long as the songs are unique. But there are definitely bands out there that are just complete copies of other things. So basically, to sum up your question, because I definitely went all over the place there are bands doing unique things, and there are bands that are copying people. It's the same as it's always been, right? So we'll remember the good bands, and we'll forget about the bad bands, and we'll talk about, the year 2014 as a better year in music than 2025, hopefully. Because I'm in 2014, so, yeah.
Now, here's another question. Am I cooler than Larry King? As an intro.
Man, you know it. You know it.
Now, this next question is about lyrics.
Okay.
On the song Killing Lines, why do you see so much red?
That's just a way of verbalizing anger, right? Like the saying, I see red. It's kind of like saying that you're just so angry that, you're seeing everything red or something like that. Bloodshot eyes sort of thing, But yeah, that was a song about, really angry stuff. So that was just a phrase that came into mind, and I thought it sounded good. So lyrically, my lyrics definitely draw on past experiences, and they're definitely extremely emotional for me. They definitely help me get out all the things that, the bad things. I don't write too many songs about good things. In fact, I think there's maybe half a good song on, half a happy song on the Defectors album, Overthought. The rest is pretty much complete anger all the time, because it's a good way to get things out, in my opinion. It works for me. So a lot of the lyrics that you'll hear on the album are pretty depressing stuff. But yeah, lyrics, they're supposed to be, for me, they're supposed to be emotional, they're supposed to be real, and they're supposed to serve the vocal melody. So first and foremost, they should sound good. And then from there, they should come from a raw, real emotion. And then from there, they should rhyme, I guess. Typical song stuff. So, yeah, that's that.
Oh. Well, that also answers my next question. What inspires the confrontational tone on the album?
Yeah, I could talk about that more. Basically, the way I write songs, I know a lot of people write songs about stories that they make up, or certain things that happen to other people or things like that. But when it comes to my songwriting, I try to focus on things that I've been through. And I rarely talk about the good stuff. Not that there's too much of that anyways, but, I try to focus on the stuff that gets me the angriest or the saddest or the most upset, and then I try to, because it feels good to go on stage and just like completely scream that stuff at people, and they don't know what you're talking about, but you know what you're talking about. So it's a good release, you know, it feels good. Write a song about bad things, and it leaves you almost.
Genetic lottery.
Yeah.
What is that about exactly?
That song is about people born with ridiculously nice faces and stuff like that, you know. Alright, so I don't know. In high school, at least the way I see the way I saw it and the way I see other high schools and the stereotypical high schools and stuff was that if you were attractive, you'd instantly become sought after by the cool kids, I guess, you know? Like, if you're an attractive person, you'd instantly be, like, people would want to talk to you, people would want to spend time with you, people would want to be with you, stuff like that. Not to say that you can be, alright, there are unattractive cool kids too, I guess. But if you are really attractive, you will get shot up to the top. I've seen it happen many times, okay? And I don't know, I felt it was kind of unfair. I mean, I know that's the way things are, and it's like natural, and if I was a really attractive person, that's probably how I would, you know, want things to be. But, I mean, my songs don't make the most amount of sense in the world. I'm just getting emotions out, right? So that's sort of what it's about for me. It's just basically about people born really attractive and how they've won a genetic lottery and how certain things are better for them just because they were born lucky. And it's still something that I feel like today, like I've met people who treat other people lesser just because they look a certain way. And I've seen people tell other people what they should look like and stuff like that. So it was a song basically me completely screaming at the top of my lungs about how I felt about that. So, yeah.
Well, I must say that answers that question. It's, I was a very, what's what I'm looking for? I was, the tone of the song itself is very intense. It was, I'm at a loss for words.
It's my favorite song on the album, actually. I really like that. I really like that song.
So I lost words. I have to say you picked a great album closer.
Oh, thank you.
Great album closer. Those
yeah,
are the ones I found.
I didn't want to do the thing that some bands do where they just stick the bad songs at the end so that people start listening to it and then they just sort of, I got this far, I might as well finish, and then they have to sit through all the bad songs. I did want it to have like an actual good song at the end. So I think I picked a fairly decent song. I like that song, you know, so yeah.
Now, here's a question about another song. Tell me, why are you so pathetic?
Our Pathetic is not... Okay, Our Pathetic is about a girl and me, and the girl is symbolized by R, and I was symbolized by Pathetic. Because, alright, in high school, I was a complete awkward loser sort of guy. Like, I didn't really talk to too many people. When I did talk, it was like the bare minimum, and like when I went after people, it was a completely pathetic, almost hilarious attempt, completely futile in every way. So that was a song about me chasing after someone and how it just completely didn't work out, and how everything that I did was absolutely pathetic in every way. So I'm past that now. It was fun to write that song and to see like what a bad job I did back in the day. Back in the day. It's not back in the day. But anyways, yeah, that's what that song's about. So yeah.
watch